Carl here from Games, Brains and Headbanging Live, gbhblofficial. Shot. I'm laughing already because I've just been trying to desperately get this download lineup in my eyes, like get it lined up and stuff like that. And it turns out it's a damn video on social media and a very, very over the top video. But thankfully, at the end, with a quick freeze frame, I managed to get a nice shot of all the bands that have announced for download next year. Of course, Download Festival taking place Donington Park, 13th to the 15th of June 2025. The announcement was literally, as at the time of recording, a couple of minutes ago. So I'm gonna tell you all about it, run you through the bands that have been announced in this announcement, tell you what I think, and yeah, just share the news with you. So obviously we've got to start with the headliners. We've got three headliners, and one of them is, oh my goodness me, in regards to the jump up. But hey, it's been coming. Let's start with the big one. It's Green Day. It's Green Day. I think this is the first time, or at least it's been a very long time since they've headlined download. It looks to me that they'll be your Friday night headliners, at least based on the poster, and that's a great shout. Green Day doing download. That is a huge, considering the cost of Green Day at their own shows. See them at a festival like this with all these other bands. Great shout. Should be a lot of fun. And there it is, the one, I don't know if you want to call it controversial, the one that's going to cause the most arguments. I don't bloody know. It's Sleep Token. I can't believe it, in the sense that I can't believe they're headlining download already. Do they deserve it? I don't know. I generally don't know. I'm not a fan. That's the simple truth for it. I'm not, or at least, I mean, I'm not a big fan of way, like I don't see what everybody else sees with this particular band. So this feels like quite a huge kind of like step up, and certainly one that I think is going to polarize. Based off their trajectory and just their upward trajectory, a Sleep Token, I think, have that ability to bring in the more casual fans as well than, your kind of hardcore downloaders. It's a brave move on their part, but also I've got to praise that, we need new headliners. And whether you like Sleep Token or not, you can argue that they are the new shit around, whereas Sunday's headliner, I think at least Sunday's headliner, third headliner is Korn. There's something for your oldies. There you go. You get to watch a bit of Korn. That's cool. I never would have thought Korn could headline download or would be a headliner of download. So it's a bit of a surprise, but good for them. Good for them. They deserve it, I guess, based off the back catalogue. Yeah. Right. Next sort of section, the other bands that have their own sort of logos. We've got some familiar names, some things that I would call mostly uninspired for the most part, but it's just bands doing the rounds, isn't it? We have, of course, Weezer. Hey, Weezer are great, always a lot of fun. Bullet from a Valentine, perfectly fine, no worries there. Jimmy World, Don Rocco, Spirit Box, Sex Pistols featuring Frank Carter. What? What? I can't read the small writing of that, but is that like a reunited Sex Pistols, but with Frank Carter? That's weird. I don't know. All right, okay. Without Temptation, no worries there. The Darkness and Steel Panther. Then we get McFly because of, well, we had Busted last year, so why not McFly this year? Apocalyptica, Cradle of Filth, Lorna Shore, and Sixth. There's nothing too inspirational there for me personally. On taste-wise, I like a lot of the bands that are playing that. A couple I've never seen live, but when you see the likes of Steel Panther and Cradle and Within Temptation, it's just a bit bit boring. Then we get Airborne, Alien Ant Farm, Bleed From Within, Boston Manor, CKY, Day Seeker, Eagles of Death Metal, The Ghost Inside, Jerry Cantrell. Guess doing the solo stuff. Ginger, Mallory Knox, Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, Meshuggah, Northlane, Polaris, Poppy, Starset, Terminigro, and Whitechapel. Mixed group of bands. They're very download. You go all over the place there, from the hard rocking stuff of Airborne and the sort of, early kind of alternative poppiness of Alien Ant Farm to the hardcore heavy noise of Bleed From Within and Ginger. And then we get some like punk rock with Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, a little bit like modern star stuff with Poppy, old school death metal with Whitechapel. Yeah, something for everyone there, I think. Then we go down to the lowest ones, the smallest names. With this is where you get your variety. This is where you get up and comers to speak. So to speak, it's not always quite the case. We've got Alcest, Amira Alefki. I don't know that person or band. Anral Nathrak, Archers, Arrows in Action, RTO, Bad Nerves, Battlesnake, Bex, Current, Dead Poet Society, Dead Pony, Elvor, Faytooth, Filter, Fit for an Autopsy, The Funeral Portrait, Gore with the full stop, great shout, good to see that in bulk, as is Graphic Nature, Harpy, The Haunt, Holy Wars, House of Protection, Karen Dio, Kim Dracula, Kitty, Nestel, Loathe, Lolo, some good bands in this section here. It's always the sort of smaller side of Dana they end up really, really being into. The Meaths, Melted Bodies, Nothing More, Melted Bodies, good shout. Novelists, Orbit Culture, two great bands there, Riding Low, The Scratch, 7 Hours After Violet. Oh, that's Chavo from System of a Down's new band. I reviewed their debut album. Pretty good stuff. Different as well, different, which is cool. Sim, Sophie Lloyd. Hey, Sophie Lloyd, great artist. The Southern River Band, Spiritual Cramp, Split Chain, Static Dress, good shout. Survivors of the Prophet, Svalbard, Silosis, Teen Mortgage, Trophy Eyes. Oh, Underside, Unprocessed, Venus Girls, Vola, Vower, Vows, and Wind Hand, plus many more to be announced. A hell of a lot of good bands in that. A hell of a lot there to sell a ticket. You know, if you're asking me, do I want a download ticket based off the first section of the band I read out the headliners and that middle section where you got your Wheezes, your Bullet from Bad Times, all that? It's not that appealing. You know, you can break down the cost with each particular band and what they offer and all of that, but it's hard. It's really hard for me to get excited about bands like Steel Panther, Bullet from a Valentine, you know, Jimmy World, McFly, even Cradle, and The Darkness. It just feels like the same old, same old, same old. But when you go down, that is where it gets super, super interesting for me. That lower half has so many great bands I would happily see there. From that one, you know, that one I like the idea of seeing Ginger, of course, Meshuggah, Poppy, Whitechapel, all of those sort of bands. But then you get these young, hungry up and coming bands, Static Dresses, your Orbit Cultures, your Graphic Natures, your Gore, Dots. Who else? We've got Trophy Eyes, Credible Band, Vola are doing brilliant. Loathe, Kitty, you know, I realize not all of these are young bands because Kitty have been around a while and made a comeback, but it's nice to see them kind of have them come back and done great things like, you know, what Kitty have done. It's great to see them amongst this group, and I think they're putting a hell of a show. Currents are here as well. Who else got Fit for an Autopsy, Melted Bodies? Yes, Svalbard, Silosis. These are all, there's some great unprocessed. That is a great, great section there. It's an announcement that gives something for everyone, as Download often does, and that's a damn good thing. I think the debates are going to start as they always do, and the arguments about what's a good booking and, oh my God, that band doing the rounds and all of that nonsense stuff like that. But remember, you all demand this to some degree. We all demand this to some degree. If Download don't book these bands, you're angry because then you're paying X amount of money and not getting what you think values for money. But we all know the headliner problem is well and truly got them stuck. They can't keep booking the same bands because those bands aren't as doing the rounds anymore, or they've just played it to death. Who wants another Maiden? Who wants another Metallica? We don't. But then these bands of this size simply don't exist anymore. So it is time to move on. And we can see that here because what they've kind of done, I think, with the headliners is give us, here's the big one. Here's the big one, and it's Green Day. Here is the future, if you want to use that word, the up-and-comer, the one that's ready for the big time, Sleep Token. And here is your kind of retro, old school, but also never been given a chance. It's weird. I always thought Bloodstock of festivals might have been the one to give Korn the leg up. So it's interesting to sort of see Download giving it to them. The only thing I'd say about that is that I'm not entirely sure, like, you know, Korn have done anything to deserve it. But I think generally that massive gap in the headliner sort of area where there's no one that can fit it anymore, that's where they've slipped into. But it does look more balanced. You know, if you're looking at that, particularly with the big bands that are around the middle sort of areas, it looks more balanced overall. And I've been calling for that for a while. Instead of having these massive headliners and a weak undercard, I thought Download should start just doing a really strong card overall, leading to a headliner that maybe isn't necessarily bigger than what played before, but it just kind of builds to that. So the idea of, you know, potentially, I'm not saying this is it, I don't know, because it's not like done days yet, but let's say it was Korn, and then before them it was someone like The Darkness, and then before them it was something like Cradle. Like, see what I mean? Like, it would feel a more measured day. Fair enough. If you're the type of person that wants that big headliner finish, then you might come away disappointed. But you're going to get that with Green Day, and you're probably going to get that with Sleep Token, if you stay awake, though. But that's just my opinion on Sleep Token. I know how bloody popular what they are. Just ain't doing that much for me. But hell of an booking for download, getting in there ahead of the curve. There's going to be so much more added to this festival. You know that as well as I do, including day splits and all that. Tickets go on sale general this week, so keep an eye out for that if you're planning to get on there and get to this festival. It's been doing really well the last couple of years, so I think it'll do really well again next year. You know, just a huge ass alternative rock and heavy metal festival in this country. Of course it's going to do well. It's got its reputation for a reason. What do you reckon though? What's your thoughts on this? Particularly, I'd be really interested to know where you kind of sit with these headliners. Particularly Sleep Token, and like me, do you kind of feel like the middle part, the Weezers, the Spirit Box, that section? Not calling Spirit Box that specifically, great band, but that section where you've got your McFly with Temptation of Darkness. Do you find that the least inspiring section of the announcement? You know what to do? Let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It is gratefully appreciated. You can find us over at gbhbl.com, our full website where reviews, news and so much more goes up daily. We're also on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, at gbhbl. Just search for gbhbl and you will find us out there. We also have merchandise on sale. You can access the shop via the website.